Hi, everybody. It's episode 437 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, December 28th, 2022. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Oh, boy.
And next week, I am definitely going to get the year wrong.
I know. I can't wait.
I'm going to change it on this document now before I fucking forget.
Good idea.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Oh, okay.
I'm doing. That's about the best I can be at right now. I'm doing.
Hey, man, you're able to talk. That's something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You didn't accidentally knock yourself out with Benadryl.
It's just, I just get one a day, store brand Claritin. So it's, this was, CVS brand, because I usually go to Walgreens and get Walton. Yes, that is their Claritin brand, is Walton.
I hate them. I'll never shop at Walgreens again.
I was hoping it was CVS-atin, but no, it's just allergy relief, acetaminophen, or Lotridotin, whatever it is.
Why do you go all the way down to Walgreens and not just the Rite Aid, like a block away?
I don't know. I don't know. I just always preferred Wegmans over other pharmacies, and
man, Wegmans is even further.
Walgreens. I've always preferred Walgreens. But it's also, like, if I'm on my way home, even though CVS is literally right there, Walgreens is more on the way home. Or it's Rite Aid, not CVS, but Rite Aid is right there. Walgreens is on the way home, more on the way home than Rite Aid is. And so if I'm going to the doctor, I can stop there on the way home.
Yeah, I guess it would depend where you're coming from.
Yeah, I go to a doctor, he's on Brace Road in Cherry Hill, so I have to come off 295 to get home. That's
fair. Yeah, I never go to that. Like, that Walgreens is just a hassle to get in and out of for me, so I just never go there.
It's never been a hassle to get into. Getting out of is more of the pain, because if you're trying to get on to Kings Highway, it just sucks, so I always take the back roads home from there.
Yeah, I usually try to get on the Kings Highway, and it's like, I only go to that Walgreens if I'm going to be turning right out of the parking lot. Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm trying to go home from there, I just don't even bother. I just go across the street to the CVS or to the Rite Aid that's much closer.
The funny thing is, in that area, and this is great audio podcasting, very localized, that area, it is faster to come home taking the side streets going around my house than it is going down Kings Highway.
I mean, that makes sense.
All GPS is, like, if I'm already coming down Kings Highway from, like, the Haddon areas, my GPS...
You can get, like, Bell Road right up to Browning, right?
Yeah, my GPS will tell me to turn on to Black Horse Pike, to turn on to Bell Road, to go all the way down, to turn on to Browning and go over the bridge to get home. Like, it seems like it would take longer, but it's always the faster trip.
Yeah, we got breakfast from that bagel place, like, kind of down the road from you, off of Browning. And I was coming from CVS, and it would have been, like, 7 minutes to get there if I had gone down Kings Highway. It was 3 minutes to get there going down Bell Road.
But that makes sense, because you are passing my house to go over the bridge to get to that bagel place. Like, that bagel place is not close to my house. It's at least
pretty close.
No, it's not. It's
a
lot.
It's like a mile away.
Well, yeah, but it's not close. Like, but like, coming home from that Walgreens, for me, coming home from that Walgreens is going that direction, going towards that shopping center, and then going over, like, going that extra, like, couple of miles. But it's like, the more direct route feels to be Kings Highway. It's traffic lights is really the reason why. There's one less traffic light on Bell Road than there is on... One less? Yeah, one less... Maybe technically two less traffic lights. One less traffic light taking Bell Road. That's really what it is.
It's because there's just the traffic light at Browning.
Yeah, Bell and Browning, whereas...
But no, I would... If you, like, started at the end of both streets and then, like, drove to Browning on both of them, I would wager that Kings Highway is actually the longer drop. Like, I think the distance from Black Horse Pike to Browning on Kings Highway is a longer distance. And technically, Kings Highway is only 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, but also so is Bell Road.
I know, but I was just putting that out because it says highway.
Yeah.
Like, it is not a highway.
I think it's because Browning is at an angle, So yeah, Bell Road is a shorter road because Browning is an angle than it is at Kings Highway. But it's weird. It's absolutely weird to me. Like that's really all it is. It's so weird.
It's fine. It's perfectly normal. Yeah, actually, it is definitely. So I just pulled up Google Maps. It is like because of the way Browning Road runs, it is like legitimately longer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't done like dropped pins in two spots yet, but just like eyeballing it, like you can just tell that Kings Highway is significantly longer to Browning than Bell Road is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's on the agenda, Rich?
On the agenda for this week, take it, Cobb, you got Sonic Frontiers.
I did.
I played Mega Man X3. Cobb watched my best friend's Exorcism. Man, words are great for me today. And we are going to try to put together and talk about our best of 2022 because there's too much bad in the world. We're not going to talk about our worst stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I did get Sonic Frontiers. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as far as like a Sonic game could be, they didn't ruin it.
Yeah, that's what I hear, and that's what I saw when I watched some people play it on Twitch. It was like, it works, and it is enjoyable, but it can also feel very repetitive.
So far, I just finished, actually earlier today, the first island. It is very repetitive. The whole kind of gameplay loop, so far at least, is run around the world, Ubisoft style, unlock viewpoints that open up more of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Though rather than having to climb something, every one of these little like stop sign looking things basically like makes you do a little task, and once you complete the task, you unlock another section of the map that you can view.
Okay.
Doing that doesn't stop you from being able to get anywhere. It's just, you can see what icons may be floating around in that area. Most of the tasks that they have you do are like really simple things too, like maybe like rushing from like point A to point B, or like those pattern games where it's like a bunch of things are lit up and you have to follow them without crossing over into another one. Basically, does that make sense?
Yeah, I missed what you said. What? I'm sorry.
So like those like pattern games where like you'll have a bunch of tiles down and you have to like touch each tile without going back onto one that you've already gone on.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So it's one of those games, and they're usually pretty simple to do those. So it's a lot of like little things like that to unlock these viewpoints. And then like it's got RPG mechanics. You get skill points. They straight up have like a Korok seed sort of thing in here.
Mm-hmm.
You collect these little fucking seed looking things and then take them to like an old guy that's larger than them. And he either gives you more speed or more room for rings in your bag.
Nice.
But like the game so far has actually been kind of cool. Like some of like the boss encounter things where you're fighting like these like giant enemies are neat because they can be super frustrating, but it's cool to try and like figure out what the battle mechanics are for it.
Yeah.
The controls are not great though. Sonic does not control well. The game has a lot of precision platforming stuff that they want you to do, and the game is just, it was not designed for any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of, at least 3 of the things I fought so far were like large in a way where you had to run up them, and it's just impossible to like get a good path on that stuff, especially when they start throwing obstacles in at you, to the point where it just becomes very frustrating after a while. And Sonic does a lot, like, just his overall control feels kind of bad. Like, he never seems to go as fast as he should be able to go. And then if you happen to, like, jump and then hit the right trigger too early before he lands, it makes you do this air dash, which then just fucks up your momentum entirely. Because the right trigger is also how you do, like, a speed burst run. There are these... They keep calling them... Basically, this is Digimon starring Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Okay.
So you keep having to go into the digital world, and you go into this digital world thing, and that's how you unlock keys to then collect the Chaos Emeralds. And each one of these digital worlds is more of a like side-scrolly or just Sonic Adventure style Sonic level, where like it's more about speed than it is about exploration or combat or anything like that. Some of them actually feel very, very much like Sonic Adventure levels. And quite a few of them have been themed like old school, like Sonic and Sonic 2 levels, like Green Hill Zone sort of stuff. And like they're neat, like they're fun levels, but also because of the platforming and stuff they want you to do in them, Sonic does not control well enough for you to be able to move quickly and also do any sort of platform.
Yeah,
so you kind of have to pick your poison, because every one of these levels gives you, I believe it's 5 objectives. It's get an S rank, which is based on how quickly you get to the end of the level. Collect 5 like tokens in the level. Finish the level with a certain amount of coins or rings, and then you also get one for just simply completing it. So it's 4. It's not 5. And you kind of, I am sure there are people that have done them over and over and over again that are just very good at this point. But without that sort of dedication, it's borderline impossible to get all of those in one go. Because if you're going fast, you're just letting the game basically auto push you through it. And the controls are just too floaty and kind of wacky to actually be able to like do the precision stuff to grab something in time.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure you do know this is like Mario 64 style. You don't have to do them all at once.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, because I did watch a streamer play one of the levels later on, and all he had left was the time trial, and it was like very minute changes were helping him get to it by the end, but it's just like very particular certain route and everything that he had to take, and like anytime he would shave time off, it would be like microsecond.
Yeah, and like that will definitely appeal to a certain type of person, and if the game controlled better, I'd be more into the time trial stuff. But it doesn't control well enough to want to go back and do those. And you don't need to. Like, at least throughout the first island, you do not need 100% every one of those, like, digital things to get enough keys to unlock all the Chaos Emerald.
Yeah.
I think I got 3 out of the 4 in most of them, and a few of them I only got, like, 1 or 2 of them. And, because the first couple I did, it hadn't really registered with me at first that, like, so long story short, they put the speed, like how fast you have to beat something in like the bottom right corner. And I just hadn't sort of zoned in on that during like the wrap up screen. So I just kept seeing the big letter score of D, and I'm like, all right, well, I got all the coins and all the red things. Don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do to get an S rank. So I just won't worry about that. I'll just get all the 3s. It wasn't until like 3 or 4 of those like shrine things in that I realized that like it was showing the time in the bottom corner of like how fast you had to complete it to get like the different ranks. And like frankly, some of them are a little too fast. Like you were saying, you really do have to do them over and over and over again, and you're just shaving like microseconds off of your time trying to find like that perfect path.
Yeah.
And if this game controlled like Astrobot did, that would be fun. This game does not control like that. It is not fun to rush through these levels because more often than not, you're going to try and hit something. You're going to hit the target lock thing. Sonic is going to decide not to target that item. And then you're going to just kind of flounder in the air and fall to your death and have to start all over.
But have you tried getting good at target locking?
No, because it's very... The camera in it is not great. It does a lot of locked cameras when you're going fast. And then it doesn't... At least so far, it hasn't repositioned itself well when it unlocks. So you're in this weird position where sometimes you'll go around like this loop and get shot into the sky. And then Sonic will only... do you remember in like the old Sonic Adventures, you'd have like that like homing attack? So that's Sonic's attack in this too. But he has to like do an auto target to hit that enemy. And it has to be... It's weird. Some items he'll target from super far away, and other items he just won't target unless I'm standing on top of it. But if the camera's not pointed to it, it just won't target it. And yeah, the camera is not great for that. There's actually the boss of the first island. It was actually a fun boss. Every time he attacked you, though, he blew you back very far. And then the camera would position itself facing Sonic instead of the enemy. And it would not let you just swing the camera around until you started moving back towards the boss. And the boss generally attacks you immediately. So you basically have to just stand there holding the block buttons for the boss to attack you before you can swing the camera back around.
Yeah.
And it's a timed battle. So I mean, like minor spoilers. You get to become supersonic at the first boss battle. And I have a feeling you're just going to do that for every island, because you collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds. You go fight him. You become supersonic. You fight him as supersonic. You get knocked to the next island. The emeralds all scatter like the fucking Dragon Balls. And then it sounds like I have to just go collect them again on this new island.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's fine. Like that's at least moving the story forward while you're really trying to, like, rescue all your friends that got trapped on these islands. And, like, the open... So, like, all my complaints about the platforming, the open world stuff's actually, like, it's better than I expected. Like, the world's kind of empty, but in a way that makes sense. Because, like, as you're playing, you're getting these little bits of, like, story, and something happened in wherever you're at, and, like, just decimated the people that were here. And there's, like, just enough, like, side bits that you have to go do that, like, everything does sort of, like, make sense, and it makes sense why the world feels so empty. And also why there's just some weird technology kind of floating around. Like, there's all these fucking, every time you hit one of the viewpoint things, a new rail appears that will connect back to, like, another checkpoint, as long as there was one in the general vicinity. So you can basically, like, use the rails to get back to the very beginning of the island. Which is cool. Like, it's like a fast travel that's not really fast travel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so far it's been interesting. Sonic's voice, way too deep, though. Like, he sounds like fucking Troy Baker. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but Sonic and Knuckles may have the same voice actor. I only saw Knuckles once, and it was like just a brief second, but I could not tell who was talking in that brief second. But, like, every Sonic material, Sonic has a generally kind of, like, fast, not, like, high-pitched voice, but, like, a higher register voice.
Right.
He does not sound like Troy Baker. This Sonic's voice just does not suit him at all. It's very weird.
So far, Roger Craig Smith is Sonic, and David B. Mitchell is...
Okay, so it's 2 people that use their fucking middle initial.
Well, it's Roger Craig Smith and David B. Mitchell. So,
he was the guy that did Captain America in Marvel stuff.
And Tails is Carlino Shaughnessy.
Which, she's been Tails, like, fucking forever. She actually got to voice Tails in Sonic 2, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, so this guy has been the voice of Sonic since 2010 in, like, the games. That's weird. So the games, Sonic sounds like a grown-ass man, and in all the movies and cartoons, he sounds like Steve Urkel and fucking John Ralphio.
I mean, well, in the movies, they took it, like, a little bit younger. Like, he's like a kid. Whereas
That's true.
in like, usually in the games and in the cartoons and stuff, he's not portrayed as a kid. They don't necessarily, like, put an age to him or anything, but he's never portrayed as a child or childish figure. So it makes sense that he has more of a developed voice in a sense.
I mean, you're not wrong. This game also makes me wonder if Sonic games are, like, interconnected between each other. Like, in this world, did Sonic 06 happen? Did Sonic Unleashed happen? Like, who knows? At one point they make reference to the Chaos Emeralds and how this island they're on seems to have this stuff created specifically for the Chaos Emeralds.
Mm-hmm.
And they make reference to, like, all the other weird things they've done with the Chaos Emeralds. And I'm like, cool, are you guys saying that, like, all the other games actually happened and they're, like, all interconnected with each other? Because that would be kind of neat.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. Like, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles all were interconnected with each other.
They were, and, like, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 were, but I just kind of assumed all of the later entries were just unconnected, like, one-and-dones, like, because you had Sonic 06 and Sonic Unleashed where he became a werewolf, or were-hedgehog, I guess. You had that one, that Wii one, like, Sonic and the Black Knight or something.
I mean, that, he teleported to an alternate universe.
Okay, I never played that. And then you had, like, Sonic Colors, Sonic Boom, there were a bunch of other ones. Yeah, where like, you literally play as multiple versions of Sonic throughout the years.
Yeah. Like, Generation, I've always wanted to play through Generations. Because it's
didn't Generations end up getting reviewed very poorly?
I've heard good things about Generations.
Okay, maybe it wasn't Generations I was thinking of then. Wow, that game is over 10 years old. That's wild. That does not feel like that long ago. Oh, yeah. It got, like, 7s and 8s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that game did not get,
Well, the problem was, I believe it was, handheld only.
No, it was on, like, PS3 and stuff.
Was it?
Yeah.
You know, it might have been free on PS3. I think I do have it on PlayStation.
I don't know. The Sonic games have bounced in quality all over the place.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And it's, like, the thing with Generations is, like, the game was a cross between, like, you would play as old school Sonic as a side-scroller, and then you would play that level again with, like, new school Sonic as, like, a Sonic Adventure-style level. And, like, from what I've heard, people, or at least the few people I've talked to about it, they very much enjoyed the game.
So it looks like, the console version of the game was actually different from the handheld one. That might be why you thought it was handheld only.
Yeah.
There are actually 2 less levels in the 3DS version, and the levels are not all the same. So, but Sonic Frontiers has actually been, like, I think I have, like, 5 hours into it so far, and, like, it was fun. Like,
nice.
And I get bored with open world games pretty quickly, because generally, like, there's just a lot of nothing to do, like early on in those games, like while you're still kind of like leveling up and like getting the ability to actually do stuff, they're usually kind of a slog.
Mm-hmm.
This one has enough like what's that to go try and figure out that like it's kept me interested, because even when the game's like, hey, go find your friends, I'm like, but there's this platform up here with a bunch of fucking like purple rings, like I want to figure out how the fuck to get up there real quick. Which, like, it's usually not hard, but it's still just, like, it sidetracks you, and then you get up there, and there's a rail, and that rail ends up taking you to the other side of the fucking island, because why the fuck not? And then you have to figure out how to get back, because it was, 50 feet in the air, and you're now on the ground, and there's a big fucking ravine between you and the rest of the island, or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then occasionally you'll, like, walk into an area, and this giant fucking thing will come to life and start attacking you. Whether it's like a tower or this fucking multi-limbed thing, or there's just an octopus flying around. Well, they call it an octopus anyway, or a squid. And it's got this, it's almost like a hard light tail is the best way I can describe it. That if you can get onto it, it becomes like a track to run on, and Sonic just starts running full speed. And the whole concept of the boss fight is you have to catch up to the actual squid's body to attack it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get close enough to it, it starts shooting, like, things at you, and you have to dodge them on the track, like hitting left or right in time. I did not pass it, because at a certain point, the squid started flying towards the sun, and you could no longer see the attacks on the track.
I wonder if that's design, or if that's just
I think it was, so the squid,
coincidental.
I think it was just coincidental, because there is a day-night cycle. And there are certain things in the world that change between day and night. Like, there was one of the map unlock areas that I started to do, and then the sun came up as I was doing it, and it, like, disabled.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I looked at the sign, it has, like, a moon on it, signifying that, like, it can only be done at night.
Okay.
So I think, like, that thing might be easier to do at night, because it'll be dark. But it also kind of traverses all over the map. So it just happened to be when I got onto it, it was just in a pattern where it was going to be flying at where the sun was. And, it acts like real light. I got a fucking glare in my face while I was fucking following it.
Yeah.
And it's standard Sonic rules. When you run out of fucking rings, if you get hit again, you die. And I got hit once, got hit again immediately after, fucking died.
Nice.
Yeah. But overall, like, I am enjoying it, and I will probably at least play some more of it. I did get Midnight Suns too, so I want to jump over and try that.
So what are you gonna beat first? Pokemon or Sonic?
Honestly, it might be Sonic.
I knew it. I knew it. I totally get it. Like, yeah. I'm burnt out on Pokemon, and you play games a lot differently than I do, and I had a feeling you'd get burnt out on Pokemon a lot sooner than I would.
And you know what it is? Like, I keep thinking about picking up my Switch to play it. And I'm like, the only thing I have to do, other than, like, the end game, is go do, like, the Pokemon League. Like, I beat all the gyms, so I just have to go fight the Elite Four and your fucking friend, or whatever bullshit they make you do at the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm sure it's not going to be hard. And I don't feel like doing it, because it just takes too fucking long, because battling in Violet and Scarlet is not fun. It takes too long.
Yeah.
Even when you turn off animations, the whole ordeal just takes too fucking long.
I never really had a problem with how long a battle took. The biggest problem when it comes to battling is the doing something besides battle. That's the biggest problem battling. If you're going to throw a Pokeball, if you're going to use an item, or if you're going to switch out your Pokemon, that takes forever.
And that's what I mean. So, that's what I mean. I don't mean like the act of actually battling, but I mean like when Pokemon are getting thrown out, all the dialogue leading up to it when you're having like an actual trainer battle. Like from what I've seen, like post, like you know how like every time you beat a gym, one of the Elite Four members is there to like talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
All of that takes too fucking long, and I have the speed turned up on the text. And it's like, I actually don't care what they're saying at this point. I just want to skip what they're saying. Because the Pokemon League was the least interesting part.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. Like, the Pokemon League, the gym training, the Pokemon League was the biggest drag in the game to start. Like, there's no reason to have to do it, but you have to do it in order to progress through the game. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. And like that, I would say that's one of the downsides of the game is they say like, oh yeah, it's open world, you can do what you want, but really if you want to finish it, you have to do all 3 quests.
Yeah, and that absolutely, totally agree.
But like I also like I got I have $65 in Steam gift cards for the Steam Deck. So like there's other handheld things I could play instead too.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know. Honestly, this may be one of the first Pokemon games that I don't actually like roll credits on. Because I don't, like, I've put a bunch of time into it. I finished what I wanted to, and I don't really want to finish the league.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. The league is so easy. And then the
Oh yeah, no. I saved outside the building. The last place I went, like, I'm standing outside the building. That's the only thing I have left before I can go into the crater.
It's so easy. The dumbest part is you have to take a quiz before you go in there. And I don't know if you can actually fail the quiz or not, but that is so dumb.
Agreed.
Like, because I think if you answer the question in certain ways, you might not be allowed to battle, and you might have to retake. But like, I haven't looked into it. I don't know. I haven't seen if anybody's failed the quiz. But it's just like like you said, there's all that dialogue leading up to it, and then it's like, all right, you get to battle the first trainer, and you walk into the next room, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's me, Dio, the whole time. And then you go through talking, and then you battle, and then it's just it like the Elite Four themselves were just such pushovers, and it was just it was the whole Pokemon League part was just so boring because there was literally no point to it. The other 2 actually had pretty compelling stories. Yeah,
like I was interested in the Starfall and the Titan stuff.
Yeah,
which is why I finished both of those before I finished the last gym. Or maybe I did the last gym before I did the last Starfall. I may have done the last gym before I did the last Starfall because I think I was able to catch any Pokemon at that point.
Yeah.
But I did the beasts like as soon as I could because I thought that was the most interesting one.
Yeah.
Plus it got you all the ways to traverse things.
Yeah.
And like as soon as I found out that kid just wanted to help his fucking dog friend Pokemon, I'm like, all right, dude, I got you.
Yeah, I got to do this first, man. Like,
yeah. But Rich, how is 1995's Mega Man 3 X3?
Basement, man. Basement. Never playing that game again.
Really?
I hated. So I kind of went through this when it came to the Mega Man games. Like, when I was, like, trying to give my list of best to worst, and it's, like, it's really hard for me to specifically say that a Mega Man game is bad, because, in general, overall, they're all the same fucking game. It's just minute details or potential changes that they may have made. The things that make me not like these games, or what may push me to not like some of these games, is potentially difficulty level or just stupid situations you get stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Makes sense.
That's what happened with Mega Man 3. It took me about 10 tries to beat the first boss.
I mean, that just sounds like you need to get good.
No, because the way they make Mega Man X games where you have the lesser health, you take the more damage and everything else, like, it's actually hard the first couple of bosses. Like, even if you have their weakness, it's hard. But, like, this one, like, the boss, like, the best way to fight the first boss and kill the first boss that I went after, which was Blizzard Buffalo, like, you need to charge, but wall jump, but make sure you're not wall jumping when he's throwing ice, and then you have to, while still charging, dash jump off the wall to get over him, to turn around and shoot, to get as much damage as you can on him, or be like me and not charge, because, like, fucking, I don't have the dexterity on an Xbox 360 controller to charge, jump, and dash all at the same time. Because to charge is, charging is X or square if you're used to PlayStation controllers. Jumping is A, and dashing is B. So in order to charge and then jump dash, not jump and then dash, jump dash at the same time, it would be holding A and then hitting A, or holding X and then hit AB at the same time. And it's just like, my fingers don't work that way. And there were a lot of times that I was incorporating my fucking index finger to use that dash and jump at the same time. And it just like, it was like, that was frustrating on its own. I started playing the game at 7 o'clock and I didn't clear it till 1:30.
Oh.
Because, in order to, with the X games, in order to get all of the armor and everything else, because I'm working on my best, I'm trying to, as best I can, complete it all the way. Like 100%.
I was about to ask you if you were trying to like get all the armor and everything as
I'm trying to get all the armor and everything, so I'm trying to 100% it as best as I can. So in Mega Man X games, you have to revisit levels to get pieces of armor or heart pieces or whatever that you couldn't get before. And the path that the guide I was using took you, one of the things that are in a lot of the levels, you actually don't get till the last level first. And then you have to go back to all the other, like, there's, to get the, to unlock the ride armor, you actually have to go to a certain point in one of the levels to unlock it. But that is the last boss you fight based on this guide. And then you have to go back through all the levels and unlock the different ride armor types that you could unlock. And it's just like, it can be very time consuming. And you needed those ride armors to get the ultimate chip during the Sigma stages, which then gives you a bunch of different upgrades, which are really useful. But it's just like, it is very much a pain. Some of the levels are just not very, a lot of the levels are very well built, and then there are some that just like, are like, alright, fine, whatever. And then you get to the Sigma stages, where, the second Sigma stage, half of it is water. All the Sigma stages have a mid-boss and a boss to them. And luckily you get the checkpoint after you fight the mid-boss, but it's still a pain in the ass. The third Sigma stage, I was on for probably 45 minutes, because there is a part near the end where you have to climb up 2 spike walls. But in order to climb up them, you have to break the shell off of a snail, which will then climb you slowly up the wall until a certain point where you have to break the shell off of a snail on the other side and jump across the wall to the other side to get on that snail to ride that up and then go back to the other side. The biggest problem is it is too short for a jump and dash. It's too short for just a normal jump, or it's too far for jumping and for just dashing across. It is too far for just jumping across, but it's too short for a jump dash. So you have to do a jump short dash, but if you're just a pixel off, insta-kill because fuck you, spikes.
Oh, jeez.
And
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was raging during this part. I was raging. And that is some of the features of video games in general that I've never liked, is one-hit kills. Because what's the point of me having full health and taking bullets to the fucking chest if a little spike is gonna kill me? Like, no. I'm getting...
The thing is, and I like this explanation about, I forget who said this. It may have been Amy Hennig talking about Uncharted. In like games where you're getting shot, you're not actually being shot. Your health is your luck, and your health goes down as your luck decreases for every shot that quote unquote misses you. But if you fall on a fucking spike and it impales you, well, I mean, that's just game over.
Yes, 100% agree. But I'm not falling on a spike. I'm walking into one.
Well, I mean, that's your own fault for being fucking clumsy. Don't air dash into a spike, right?
I mean, but why is walking into a spike gonna insta-kill? Like, I understand falling on a spike, because you're falling on a spike, and that's jabbing through you. But, like, you're gonna have the control that if you see a spike wall and you're not gonna walk into a spike wall or dash into a spike wall. You're gonna have control, or you're gonna be able to stop yourself more going left and right than you are dropping. And it's just like, just no to insta-kills, because like even like things dropping from the ceiling that crush you. Like there was a one level, I think it was the Volt Catfish, where there's a whole sequence in the beginning of the level where blocks drop in a certain order. And because this is an SNES game, if you were 1 pixel too far over and your foot was crossing the threshold, it drops on you and kills you. And that happened to me several times. I would stop on the platform I'm supposed to stop on, but not realize that my foot was over that threshold. And it's just like, well, this shouldn't have killed me. This shouldn't have hurt me. This shouldn't have done anything to me. And then there were times where just like, I input a button, and like, I did that stage like 20 times because of just insta-kills. Like, insta-kills are just some of the worst things in video games, in my opinion. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. They are. They're the worst games in video games. They're worse.
I mean, look, man. If I got shot, it's an insta-kill.
Yeah, if you got shot,
it's more realistic.
I get shot in a video game, and it takes down a pellet of my health.
No, it removes some of your luck. The bullet did not hit you.
No, that's not Mega Man. That is just like real. Like that's fucking Uncharted.
It can be applied to anything.
But
if I run full force into a wall of spikes, I'm probably done for.
But you're not going to run into a wall of spikes. That's the problem.
Then why do you keep having Mega Man run into a wall of spikes?
I don't. The floor is slippery. Like,
exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a fucking trap.
The floor is slippery, and so I have to dash jump, but make sure to stop my jump on time, because if I'm still going in momentum, I'm going to slide off the fucking platform and go into spikes. It's just, no, it's dumb. Then, that's just Sigma, that's Sigma 2. Sigma 3 was the boss rush, which was fine. Sigma 4 was the final fight with Sigma. Luckily, Sigma only has 2 forms. And you, start off, he has a shield, so you have to hit him from the back, so you use the one weapon that can circle around him, but he also has the combination attack pattern of like the blobs from the early Mega Mans, where he'll shoot down, and then he'll shoot up, and then he'll shoot middle, and then he'll shoot down, so you have to know how to time those jumps. I was like, fuck it, I have 4 health tanks, I'm just gonna eat through these attacks and just kill him. Usually it would take 1 full health tank in order to kill him. Then you get to second Sigma, which his weak point is his head. Which, yeah, is normal. His weak point's his head. But...
Wait, isn't Sigma just a head?
No. Sigma is Sigma. He's got more than just a head. He's a full-bodied robot Reploid. But the problem is, his head is surrounded by armor. And the only way to hit it is to have a full charged shot, or a mid-charged shot, and place that shot perfectly to thread the needle to hit his head. Yeah, that took me an hour.
So how long did the game take you?
From 6 to 1:30. No, 7 to 1:30. So 5.5 hours.
Jesus.
6.5.
6.5 hours. But
yeah.
That's not all. You finally beat Sigma 2, and Sigma's like, well, I'm gonna infect you with my virus and take over your body. And you sit there on the ground, and you try to shoot his head, and nothing happens. And then all of a sudden, lava appears on the ground, and the screen starts moving up. And now you have to climb a tower. But not only do you have to climb a tower, because there's angles on this tower, you have to jump around the angle, up and around, or dash up onto the side of the wall. And if you die during this sequence, you have to fight Sigma fully again.
That sounds like a Mega Man game.
No, it doesn't. Because there's never been a Mega Man game with an escape sequence. That's a Metroid fucking game.
No, I meant if you die, you have to start, the boss
over.
Yeah,
if you die, you have to start the boss over, but this is an escape sequence, which these games aren't well built for escape sequences. Or at least this, the jumping up a tower, it was just so frustrating, because I had to beat Sigma, 3 times before I was able to actually kill him, and then when I actually did get to, I killed Sigma 3 times, had to climb that tower about 2 or 3 times. On the last time I had to climb the tower, I made it with 1 life left. Barely. Because I had enough health to just kind of sit in the lava for long enough before I jumped onto the wall and climbed it.
That sounds like a fun time, man. Aren't you glad you decided to do all the Mega Man X games?
It was. This is the first one that really absolutely frustrated me that much.
I feel like it's all downhill from there. Isn't that why, like... Oh, isn't, like, the first one or the second one or is, like, the peak, and then it's all fucking downhill?
I'm hearing, so X4 is good, and then X5 and 6 are some of the harder ones. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what people think are the best and worst ones. I've heard that, like, the first three, there's a really hard or annoying part in one of the first three. Some of the platforming, jumping parts to get all of the armor pieces have just been ridiculous, especially in X1 and 2. X3 had some of the easiest armor pieces to get. X1 and 2 had some of the dumbest jumps you needed to make to get the armor pieces. Because in X1, it's like a pixel-perfect jump that you need, and then a frantic continuing of jumping to break blocks so that you don't drop down, because if you drop down, you cannot get back onto this part. And then X2, there was just one part that you needed to jump straight up and get onto the wall, but like you needed to have that jump timed in a perfect way. It's dumb. It was dumb. But with both of those, like, the final stages weren't terrible. The final Sigma in X1 sucked because there was 3 forms, and I believe you only had 2 health tanks. No, you might have had 4. No, I think it was 2 or 4. But the final Sigma in the final form of Sigma in X1, you needed to use the worst weapon to kill him. And same with X2, you needed to use the worst weapon to kill the final Sigma. But in this one, you just needed a well-placed charge shot a couple of times, which is bullshit. It's so bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is as of this point, X3 is for me the bottom of the barrel. It's not my cup of tea. If I had known it was going to take me that long to beat it, I probably would have stopped midway through. But every time I got to a hurdle and it was like, oh, it's 9 o'clock and I've only beaten 4 bosses, and then it'd be 10 o'clock. Oh, I've beaten 7 bosses, 10 o'clock, I can get through this. And then it's like, oh, I'm on the Sigma stage at 11 o'clock and I have all the gear and equipment and I have the ultimate upgrade and it's 11 o'clock, I'll be done this. And then it's, well, I'm on the Sigma stage at 11 o'clock. I have to beat this. I can't stop. And then 2.5 hours go by and it still takes me to beat it.
Was it a work night?
Yeah, it was Monday. It was a work night.
I didn't know if you had taken off any extra time.
No, I mean, I'm off on Friday, so.
Okay. Ugh. Well, anything else you want to say about Mega Man?
Oh, man, I'm excited for X4, man. Because you can
Don't get too excited. That can only lead to disappointment.
No, I've got a lot of nostalgia and remembrance for X4. That's the first one where you get to play as Zero. I think the only one you get to play. I think that was the one that was released on the PlayStation. It was the one I had, and I played a fuck ton of back in the
There was
day.
more than one on the PlayStation.
I know, but that was the first one on the PlayStation. The X1, 2, and 3 were all SNES.
I think 4 was both.
I don't know.
We had it
on PlayStation.
I'm wrong.
And then, yeah, so I'm looking forward to X4. And then the story gets better. Like X5, 6. X4 to X8, there's actually story that which I'm looking forward to. Instead of just oh, here's what's going on, and then you go play. There's actual, story content. I don't think it's like Mega Man 8 where there's fucking voice acting.
I don't think so.
Actually, there might be animated stuff and voice acting in X4. Because that came out around the same time as 8.
I feel like there isn't, but I do not know.
I remember animated cutscenes at least, I think. We'll see.
Are you going to play through as X or as Zero?
Both. Consensus is do both. So I think I'm going to change up my schedule. Instead of playing Mega Man on Monday this week, I'm going to play it on Sunday, and I'm just going to have an extended stream and play through both stories on Sunday.
10-hour stream on Sunday?
Let's say a 7 to 10 hour stream on Sunday, probably.
How long to beat?
5.5 hours for 100% for X4, which is
100% both characters.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, you know what? I guess main story is 4 hours. So let's say 8. Let's say it's probably about 8 hours to do it with both characters, since you don't have to play as both characters to beat the game.
Yeah, I mean, they have, that's the thing, they have different, perspectives. So I don't know. I might just do one. I might do X this week and 0 next week, and split it up like I did with Resident Evil 2, where I had the 2 different character playthroughs.
I mean, that is also valid.
But I'm thinking I might just try to bust through this one all in one stream on Sunday instead of on Monday, since I'm off on Monday.
Because, I mean, Cobb, the X3, how long to beat, is 5.5 hours for completionist, and it took him an extra 2 hours on top of that.
True.
So it could be a 14-hour stream if it takes that long.
All right, Rich, you're waking up at 8 o'clock on Sunday to start, right?
I mean, I'll probably start around 1 if I do this.
I mean, if it takes you if you do both and it took you 14 hours, that would be 3 in the morning.
No, I will definitely stop at a point, especially if I'm getting frustrated or angry. Like, if it takes me 6 hours to beat just one of the characters, then I'll be like, alright, I'm done for tonight, and we'll get back to this tomorrow.
I vaguely remember that 0 stuff is harder because it's all melee.
Mm-hmm. But they also changed up how, like, enemies attack and attack patterns and things like that from X4 on to accommodate the melee.
Yeah, I just meant, like, in general, like, I remember playing through the game as 0 was supposed to be harder.
Mm-hmm.
But that could also vary by the person. Like, maybe you are better with 0 than you are with Mega Man.
I definitely played as 0 a lot more than I did as Mega Man
You seem like that sort of guy.
Back in the day. I loved 0. He's the man. I want to breeze through these X games. Cause let's see, it'll be February, the first week of February probably when I do X8, and then take probably the rest of February off, or hopefully it goes on sale before then. Once it goes on sale, I'm getting the ZX collection, and we'll be going through those, which those are longer games. They're like multi-stream games, because they're like more like Metroidvania.
And then like over the summer, Battle Network collection I think is supposed to come out.
I haven't figured out how I'm going to do Battle Network yet, because those are also much longer games.
It's like 3 streams.
No.
Per game.
I think I might do those monthly instead of weekly, or like beat 1, take a month off, beat 1, take a month off. I haven't figured that one out yet, but I also have to wait for that to go on sale.
Yeah, I mean, the main story for Battle Network games, we talked about this before, but they range from like 15 to like 25 hours.
Yeah.
So like, definitely a couple streams per game.
Yeah, but it's going to be the same with the ZX series.
True. But I guess you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. So I watched, it's actually from this year called My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
It is a movie on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it came out in theaters or anything like that. It is a like comedy horror though.
Okay.
It's set in 1988, and this group of teenage girls goes to like a cabin, like one of their families like cabins at a lake thing sort of deals. And 2 of them kind of like wander off, and it's like the 2 best friends in the group, and one of them gets possessed while like exploring this like creepy shack that has a whole bunch of like sinister like stories about it. And it then turns into like kind of like a Mean Girls sort of deal, where the friend who got possessed just becomes like a complete fucking bitch, and then it escalates from there as she becomes like a homicidal fucking maniac. One of the girls, she convinces that she has been taking these diet shakes from France, and then gives them to her, and you find out later in the movie that it was tapeworms, and that she had like 58 tapeworms in her stomach.
Oh jeez.
One of them like literally crawls out of her mouth at one point because it was 16 feet long. And then another girl is allergic to peanuts, and she purposely gives her brownies with nuts in it. And then after she takes and hides her EpiPen. So like, she goes pretty fucking twisted. And then Drew, you watched that movie, or the show Glow, right? The lady wrestling show?
Mm-hmm.
Remember like not like the manager guy, the older guy, but like the younger guy that was like the money behind it?
Vaguely. It's been a while.
He is in this movie. That dude just looks like he's out of the 80s. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything that's like modern day, but like he seems like a guy out of the 80s. And he plays he is the youngest brother in a group of 1980s like aerobics instructor kind of guys that are all Jesus based. And one of the girls goes to him because they need an exorcism done. And
okay.
it's just like the most bumbling fucking exorcism you've ever seen. It was actually a surprisingly good movie. Like, I wouldn't like say it's like a must see or anything like that, but it's totally worth the like hour and a half or whatever it ran for. Especially because it was included on Amazon Prime. And like some of the stuff was legitimately funny. At one point, the girl, when she gets possessed, she almost looks like she's going through withdrawal in the early stages, and like one of the one girl's boyfriend says something like shitty, and she just starts projectile vomiting all over him. And it was like legitimately like laugh out loud funny. But other than that, it's like a stupid like fun movie. It's not really scary. Like, at no point are you like expecting something to like be legitimately scary. The like demon thing and the tapeworm are both kind of like unexpectedly shocking. When you see the actual demon, like, you just don't expect an actual demon to show up. And the tapeworm crawling out of the girl's mouth was just like one of those like, what the fuck is that?
Gross.
Yeah. Because I forget what they had ice. So the girl was basically every time she thought about food, she was like basically like dry heaving, and then like they show her stomach like rolling and stuff like that, like there's something in it, and then all of a sudden this tapeworm just like crawls out of her mouth and like starts going for the ice cream, and then her dog comes in and like literally like latches onto the tapeworm and rips it out of her. Like,
gross.
It really was, but it was like a fun gross.
I don't know if that's fun.
Oh, it was fun.
Oh, I don't know.
Movies are fun.
I don't know if that's fun gross.
But like it's definitely worth watching if you're just looking for something like stupid to put on.
Mm-hmm.
Like without like too much depth or anything to it. And it's got some decent 80s soundtrack stuff going on.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all there really is to say about that. It's like I said, it's under 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to talk about your favorite things of 2022?
Sure.
Drew, I'm assuming yours are just 5 concerts.
I mean, I could have just listed out 5 concerts probably, but
I'm honestly, I just assumed that's what you were doing.
Nah, I got other things.
I listed multiple concerts, so that shows you how.
I went to 24. It's like,
well, you had to pick the top 5. Like, what were your favorite 5 concerts?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go through and remember what fucking concerts I went to. Hold on.
All right. Well, while we're doing that, Rich, what is your number 1 thing from 20, or I guess your number 5 thing of 2022, if you put them in any sort of order?
No, I didn't really put them in any sort of order.
Neither did I. So just pick one at random.
To be 100% honest, I didn't really put together an order. I'm just trying to remember things because we've already talked about it off air, but like my year kind of sucked. Yeah, it's there's not a lot for me to super praise for, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with the return of Bleach. That was, for the longest time, it was my number 1 favorite anime. Well, actually, it was tied for number 2. So, for the longest time, my top 3 anime were Death Note, Naruto, and Bleach, with Naruto and Bleach tied for number 2. But then My Hero came out, and that really took over number 1 spot. So then Bleach was like tied for number 3 with Naruto, but with the 1,000-Year Blood War and everything that's going on, I'm combining both series into one. That has now taken the number 3 spot. And I'm so happy with what they're doing with the 1,000-Year Blood War. I love the new animation. I love the new stories that I've never seen most of before, and like I've never read the manga of the 1,000-Year Blood War, so I don't really know if they've done any changes as of yet. But they did say that they were going to be doing some anime exclusive content during this, and like some of the things that they did so far were just so good. It's been so good. I'm so happy to have it back.
Yeah. So I am not caught up with the sub because we're watching the dub of it. So I think I'm like 4 or 5 episodes behind. But up till episode, let's say 7, I don't think there's been any like legitimately like anime only content. I know the very first episode, you know how like everybody's there to stop those hollows.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and checked the manga. It is just Ichigo in the manga.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
like
they had to put everyone there to reintroduce all the main characters.
Absolutely, and I feel like it worked for that scene. It also worked in the manga when it was just Ichigo showing up and fucking decimating everything. But up to like that 7th episode, they've been doing a really good job with it.
Yeah. Are you still in the battle?
No, so the last one the last episode that released was it was post the initial kind of incursion, and it was where Squad Zero came and brought everybody up to like I forget what the place is called, like the Soul King's domain.
Oh, so you're getting into like the Kenpachi stuff soon. Nah,
That's
man.
the next episode.
Yeah.
Like I looked to see when it was happening. I've wanted to see that animated for like I only read it like 4 or 5 years ago at most, but like I've been so excited to see that stuff animated since then. A lot of this stuff, like I was so excited to see some of this stuff get animated.
Yeah, it was friggin' awesome.
And
but yeah, so I'm gonna have to start with The Return of Bleach.
Yeah, it's funny. So like that was not on my list, but I had like an honorable mention for just how good anime has been in the fall specifically. Because like we had Bleach come back, and they're actually doing a really good job with it. My Hero season 6. I don't know if you're caught up with that.
Oh, it's the best season so far.
Yeah, and I mean like even in the manga, like this was the best part of the manga. And we're at the point where Dabi just revealed who he is. So that's where the dub's at right now.
Oh, so you're only 2 weeks behind on that.
Yeah,
I think you're only 2 weeks behind on Bleach too.
I think Bleach is more because I think because it took an extra week off, and I think it started 3 weeks late for the dub. But then you have Spy Family and Chainsaw Man. Like, there's just a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
That like started in the fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, Drew, what is your first one, or did you come up with your top 5 concerts of the year first?
I'm still working on concerts, so I'll go with my trip to San Diego to see the Wings game.
God, was that this year?
Yeah, turns out that was April.
God, I feel like that was 2017. Jesus.
Yeah, it feels like forever ago. But hey, San Diego is really fucking nice.
I have heard it's just like kind of always between 70 and 80 and sunny.
Yeah, although we were there on like the hottest day of the year.
Wasn't it like March when you went?
Yeah, it was early April.
Okay, that's funny that it was like hotter in April there.
They had a like random 92-degree day the first day we were there.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But then by Saturday, which was like our first like full free day where we wound up going to the zoo, it was back to like 74 or whatever. So, yeah, the weather was super nice. It was fun going to a Wings away game and getting to slightly be like the obnoxious Philadelphia fan.
Because you only ever get to be the obnoxious Philly fan when you're actually in Philly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So first one I have, mine is actually chronological. Is Pokemon Arceus, because for all of the sort of meh I ended up feeling after like putting it down of Scarlet and Violet, I still think Pokemon Arceus was a real good time.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Like Arceus was a good time, but I also think and agree that Scarlet and Violet was a good time. They were good times in their own perspectives, but I feel like Arceus was it edged it out a little bit.
Yeah, like I just looking back on like my time with both of them, I look back on Arceus more fondly because it did break the mold. It introduced a lot of mechanics to the Pokemon games that I really liked, and I I was very bummed that they weren't part of Scarlet and Violet, like at all. Even removing the thing that like you can't just catch Pokemon in the wild. Being able to just throw your Pokemon out to battle and not have to actually transition into a battle, and being able to actually move your character around during the battle to like run away and stuff like that, that was so good and made it so much more immersive.
Yeah. And
then you get Scarlet and Violet, and it's like, nope, we're going right back to the way this has always been.
Yes.
And
it feels so janky in Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, and it's a shame, like, we were talking about it on your Discord, like, last week or this week, whenever the fuck it was, but, like, the games were made side by side. Like, I'm sure they did not have the bandwidth or the time to really, like, implement things that worked well in Arceus, but, like, they shouldn't have put out 2 games like that close together.
Yeah.
But, Rich, what is your next one?
Oh, man, my next one. We are gonna go with Ms. Marvel. I believe that was this year.
It was June, I think it started.
Yeah, I feel, in my opinion, for the most part, this phase of Marvel, the movies have been not the best. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're the worst, but I'm just saying, like, they're just very middling. a lot of this phase.
What was it? 2 very quality movies, and then the rest were sort of meh. Like,
I mean,
Shang-Chi was really good. Spider-Man No Way Home was really good.
Yeah.
Everything else would kind of like...
It's just middling at best, if not, like, lower tier. But, like, for the most part, their shows, all of the D+ shows in general, have been very well done and very top tier, like, TV shows, and honestly better than a lot of the movies. And I thought Miss Marvel was a great setup for the character. I thought it was a great setup for the next movie. I thought it was a great introduction to a new character. And just all over, just a good, fun, silly, teen drama type show that was also a superhero show.
Yeah, they did a really good job casting everybody in that show.
Yes, yeah.
And for, like, all the weird changes they made to her powers, it all worked. And they still were able to have her powers do, like, some of like her more iconic things that she does with her comic book powers.
And who knows, with the reveal at the end of her genes being mutant genes, maybe something happens to her bracelets and she develops mutant powers that let her embiggen. Like, who knows what they're actually going to do with the character. Maybe this is just a way to get around the embiggening without the awkward stretching skin at this point, and they're gonna bring it more to its grounding. I know she's supposed to be Inhuman, but they've written off Inhumans. So, like, who knows what they're going to actually do with this character moving forward. And I liked what they did with her powers. I thought it very much worked. It very much was like a new, different kind of thing, especially since they're also incorporating a Fantastic Four next phase with another character that stretches, and they don't need 2 stretchy characters.
Look, that's a little reductive. Her powers aren't stretching; they're embiggening.
It's polymorph are her powers, is what they call it in the comics. But she can stretch, like.
Well, she can grow, and she can shrink, and she can stretch.
Oh, so she's Ant-Man now.
She's a little bit of everything.
Exactly, and so like they don't need.
That's
that,
why she's
like,
a Marvel.
Yeah, they don't need that like crossover too much. So like I like what they did with her powers, and I absolutely loved the direction the show went. It was great.
They did do a very good job with it.
Yeah.
Drew, what is next on your list? Unless you have your 5 concerts.
I'm gonna save the concerts for last.
Okay, I'll stop asking then.
Vampire Survivor. That game's fucking great.
It is. It is.
I mean, that game's on a lot of like Game of the Year lists.
It is.
It's like so simple, but it's so addictive. Like, and they just nailed the execution on everything. And I've been seeing a lot of people saying they're getting basically like the Tetris effect of still seeing the game after they've stopped playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally understand people getting that with this game.
I've gotten that, and that game has hit so hard and so, like, has gotten so big that, like, the .io games started replicating it and shit like that as well. Like, there's so many fakes of that game.
Did either of you pick up the DLC for it?
Not yet. I still haven't even actually gone back and, like, finished it.
I haven't played it since July or August.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't click for me, but I understand why people like it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a bad game, I just didn't click with it.
Yeah, we know. You don't like fun. It's okay.
I like fun. I mean, I don't like that fun. I don't know. It was weird. It's like an idle game that you can't be idle for.
I mean...
Listen, you get the right set of items, you fucking sure can.
I can send you some videos of somebody just doing no-move challenges in that game. I can send you multiple videos of somebody doing no-move challenges in that game.
Oh, I believe that. Like I said, like, I understand why the game is so popular. Like, I can see the fun people have with it while not also having it.
Mm-hmm.
So next one I have was Newfound Glory at the Brooklyn Bowl. Because it was their Sticks and Stones anniversary tour, so they played all of their self-titled and all of Sticks and Stones, and it was like a 900-person venue, so it was just super fucking cool.
Nice. Yeah,
and like there were 2 concerts this year where like the bands just happened to play like the entirety of their like most well-known albums, and it was that and Motion City. And I basically flipped a coin between Motion City and Newfound Glory, but ended up on Newfound Glory.
Nice.
So, that Motion City show was awesome too. So
yeah, exactly.
Good choice either way.
Rich, what's next?
So next, even though I just spent some time shitting on Marvel movies, is Spider-Man No Way Home. Honestly,
yeah, no, I mean that was a good one.
I'd have to say it was the best movie I saw in theaters.
Nope, you saw that in 2021.
Was that 2021?
Yep, that was on your list last year.
Shit. That was 2021, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it came out December or late November.
Then I'll cross that off. I'll cross that off, and we'll go to the next one, and I'll figure out a different one. Monster Hunter Sunbreak. It really revitalized my joy out of that series, especially with Rise, how it was very lackluster. The initial vanilla of Sunbreak, had a lot in it, and then it was a little lackluster from there, but the most recent updates and a lot of the changes they've made to the endgame content, I play that game at least 2 to 3 times a week for several hours at a time. I absolutely fucking enjoy playing that game, and Sunbreak has made Rise honestly the game it should have been at launch, and has put together a really good endgame loop. Although sometimes a little fucking tedious as hell, it's still a good and very playable endgame loop. That is just it brought back my love for the Monster Hunter series, because I've always loved it, but I kind of hated Rise. It was very lackluster.
So is Sunbreak an expansion or a whole separate game?
It was an expansion to Rise, just like Iceborne was an expansion to World.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just wasn't 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I said, I still play it. There's still content updates. We're getting another drop sometime, probably February. I think they just said winter, but actually it might be January now. They might have changed it. With another new Elder Dragon, a couple of more powered up monsters, and so it's a game that I'm gonna keep pushing and playing along, it's for a while, and it's a game that I'm man, I kind of just want to play that right now sometimes.
Nice. Drew, what's next on your list?
It's not a thing that came out in 2022, but I saw it for the first time in 2022, which was Beetlejuice the Musical up on Broadway.
How long has that been out for?
Well, I guess technically it came back this year, but it's definitely started pre-pandemic.
Oh, okay, so it's been around for a little while.
Yeah, but then, I think even before the pandemic, it went on hiatus, or maybe it just shut down with the pandemic and then came back out this year. Yeah, so the first performance was 2018 for Beetlejuice.
Okay, so it's not that old then.
No,
especially after probably at least a year off, if not a little bit more.
It was actually off for 2 years apparently.
Oh wow.
The last show before COVID shutdown was March 10th, 2020, and did reopen this year at the different theater, so hey,
oh wow.
Count that as a 2022 re-release, I guess.
and you got to see it right before the original Beetlejuice actor stopped or whatever, right?
Yeah, so the show is shutting down on Broadway January 8th, and then they're doing a tour, but it's a new cast for the tour. But it was awesome. I'd probably still suggest seeing it when it comes to a city near you, if it does. I know it's coming to Philly. It's really funny. It was so good.
Nice.
I love the soundtrack. I've listened to that soundtrack a good number of times. I absolutely love it.
Well, then you should go see the show when it comes to Philadelphia.
I might try, but I also wanted to see, but I think it got canceled because of COVID. I wanted to see, fucking, Mean Girls when it was in Philly.
I was gonna say, man, if you want to see fucking, you don't have to go out for that.
I see that all the time.
All right then. My next one, is the trip we took to the West Coast, back in September. Just seeing stuff we had never seen before. It's a lot of fun. Driving from Seattle to Los Angeles was an experience to say the least. Got to see the Golden Gate Bridge up on that cliff that you're allowed to go up on to see the Golden Gate Bridge. It's fucking weird. That whole area seems very unsafe. And there's no one really there keeping people from doing anything stupid. And there's just tons of people up there capable of doing something stupid. But then once we got to Los Angeles, we got to do Halloween Horror Nights and Not Scary Farms. And in particular, the Not Scary Farms was just it was so much better than I thought it would have been. Like it was leaps and bounds better than what Universal did for Hollywood Horror Nights.
Nice.
Like their shit was actually scary. They actually had people in the park from like the moment like the Halloween stuff started, whereas like Universal didn't have anybody come out until after 10 o'clock. So it's Knott's Berry Farms is the actual park. Like the park reopens at like it was like 7 or 8 o'clock for the Halloween stuff, and as soon as that happens, all the fucking people in like costume come out, and like they are there to fuck with you. I talked about it like right when I got back, but you had people in like the boardwalk section of the park that had knee pads and steel-toed boots on, so they would just run at you, drop on their knees, and slide across the cement, dragging their boots to create sparks, while like screaming or something like that at you. And like they also had fog machines going all over the park, so like you'd occasionally just hear this scream and see this fucking like thing trailing sparks come like flying at you on the ground out of the fog. And like even knowing they're there, like it'll catch you off guard sometimes. So that was just a really good time.
Nice.
I would highly recommend if you go to California, in Southern California at least, in the Halloween season, don't waste your money on Hollywood Horror Nights because it's overcrowded and they just force everybody through too quickly. Go to Knott's Berry Farms instead. It's a way better time. Rich, what is your next one?
So my next one is just in general, my growth in streaming and content creation, as well as learning that I actually do kind of enjoy doing some video editing, even though it's very minimal at this moment. I do enjoy putting together videos, making some things to post onto YouTube and TikTok and things like that, and where I'm going to go from there. But it just like overall, my growth as a creator going from, I started 2022 with about 100 followers and I grew to almost 300 by the end of this year. This was my first full year as an affiliate because I reached affiliate status at the very end of last year. And like I had my subathon, which was super successful, and like just overall meeting some new friends and whatnot. It's just like this year when it comes to like growing my channel and growing the things that I do and I'm trying to do, so that, I mean, very unlikely, but maybe within the next 5 years I don't have to do a real job anymore. It's great.
I mean, you keep that dream alive.
Yeah, like I said, not very likely, but maybe. You never know.
Look, man, even if you can, like, make, like, actual money doing this, but still work, like, that's still a win.
Yeah, I mean, but
like,
if I can eventually at a point make what I'm just making now through my job, if I were to quit my job, I'd still be able to survive off of whatever I'm making on streaming and content creation. I'm going to make that leap. Like,
oh, yeah, no, 100%. I was just saying, like, if you get to the point where, like, you're getting just actual income off of this, where it's, like, you can just improve your quality of life, like, even that's just a win. Even if it's just, like, going to pay for, like, new stuff for your streams and, like, a nicer dinner once a week. Like, that's a fucking win.
I mean, right now, I'm averaging about $40 to $60 a month, which is, like, it gets me, it helps a little bit with bills or whatever, or it, like, just lets me buy extra food sometimes. I'm using this payout that I'll be getting about $80 on for a GoFundMe. But like, yeah, it just generally does help a little bit, and it's fun to do. And honestly, the video editing so far, like I said, very minimal what I'm doing, but still like interesting, and like I want to keep trying to do more.
Yeah, dude. Like I don't know what you're using, but like Premiere, at least, like it's fun messing around with stuff in like video editing software. Like I know Premiere has like all the goofy transitions and stuff you can do, and like making a timeline and seeing like what sort of things you can do to like make that timeline look cool it's a fun time.
Premiere costs money, right?
Yeah, but you can get like lots of free trials and stuff for it.
No, I'm not using anything that costs money. I found DaVinci Resolve is
I've heard of DaVinci before.
It's like a free use video editing, and the basic free use stuff, like it does miss some things, but like I was able to create a YouTube short last week of like the cookies that I made a couple weeks ago, and it was just I was able to put it together, cut it, put some music. I didn't even need to put the music behind it because I put the music behind it on TikTok, but like put it together, cut it, and even add transitions by just highlighting it all and telling it auto transition, and it was just like, all right, here we go.
Dude, at this point you could probably find an app on your phone to do it too. Like,
Yeah.
some of that stuff has gotten so simple. If you're just looking to, like, cut things up and, like, add transitions, it's like, cool, here's an app for that.
No, I could definitely just use TikTok for a lot of this.
I didn't know you could do that stuff in TikTok.
I find it a lot easier to cut using, like, a mouse and keyboard and to actually have it all on screen than using my fucking touch. Like, I hate putting together certain things on TikTok on the touchscreen, but in order for me to be able to properly post it onto YouTube Shorts, I need to post it onto TikTok first. Otherwise, YouTube won't recognize it as a short.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, because like, either the formatting or something with it won't fully work. So I might have to go back and try some other things, but it sets up that short form, like, not letterbox, the horizontal style. Like, it's easier to just put it together on TikTok than it is to try to put it together on, like, I can do the final editing on TikTok than putting it on YouTube. Plus, then all of my things on YouTube have my TikTok tag on, get people to come follow.
That's fair. Drew, what's next on yours?
Game that I also need to go back and finish that I totally forgot came out this year. Tunic. Forgot that game was fucking this year.
Was that this year?
Yeah.
Like, I know I played it this year, but I didn't realize that it was new this year.
Yeah. I mean, it had been in development for fucking ages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I swear I remember seeing them talk about it at E3 like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, no, it was like 2017, 2018 when they announced it.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that game's fucking real good.
Yeah, that game was great. I absolutely enjoyed it. The last couple of puzzles are just so ridiculous, though. Like, I would never have been able to do those puzzles without a guide. And even with a guide, it's still not next to it. For me, it would have been next to impossible.
That I did not play a lot of that game, but I thought it was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those where, like, I kept meaning to go back to it, but I would play it on Game Pass, and I never felt like turning the Xbox on to play it. And there wasn't really another good way to play it.
Well, now didn't you like jailbreak your Steam your Steam Deck to have Xbox Game Pass on there?
Whoa. There's no jailbreaking involved. Like, Microsoft released fucking instructions on how to play Game Pass games on the Steam Deck.
But you have Game Pass, which means you can play Tunic on there.
It doesn't play all that well because it's the fucking streaming one.
Yeah.
Like, if I could download and install it, it'd be a different story. I tried playing a few Game Pass games streaming. It gets very fucking artifacty and stuff like that constantly.
Ugh.
Yeah, like, it's a bad time in that. Like, if I had no other way to play a game, and I really wanted to play it, I might suffer through it. But a game like Tunic, I wouldn't want, like, the quality dips like that, because while, like, it is a super simplistic art style, it's a really pretty game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just, like, all the animations and stuff are really well done in that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Me, right? Yeah, me.
Yes.
I
think this
my
is
next
your last
one. There's one more. So this one, and then we each have one more.
Okay, I forgot you started on me.
Yeah. So this, much like Drew said for one of his previous ones, not from this year, but the Stormlight Archive, which is a series of fantasy novels that I talked about a couple times. Probably my favorite books of all time at this point. I can't wait for the next one to come out in 2 fucking years. But like, they were so fucking good, and I'm usually not one to, like, just marathon through a series, but, like, as soon as I finish one of these, I just immediately bought the next one, and they're all like 12 fucking 100 pages, so it was just constantly reading them for like 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
But they were so good, and I really do hope at some point they get, like, an Arcane treatment or something where they just get, like, a really high quality, like, animated version. Because some of the shit in here would just look like Rich, you watched Arcane, right?
Yes, I thought it was very beautiful.
Yeah, like, some of the, like, the way the world in this series works, and the way the magic and stuff works, with, like, the way that they animated Arcane would be so fucking cool in this.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if that'll ever happen, though. That's really just like a hope and a dream.
Yeah.
But what is your last one?
My last one goes a little bit along with what I was just talking about, was being able to complete all 9 Resident Evil numbered games in 31 days on stream.
That is actually, like, like, bravo. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Good job.
It was a very impressive feat. I beat it. I beat all 9. I just didn't do the expansion for Winter Story until the 1st of November, but that doesn't count because that wasn't out when I started the challenge.
Didn't that come out the week of Halloween? It
came out, like, the 28th or something like that. It came out, like, 5 days before the end of the month. Less than 5 days before the end of the month. Like, it was super close to the end of the month, which is why I'm like, it doesn't fully count that I needed to have it done by the end of the month. Plus, the whole goal was the 9 numbered games. I didn't do expansions on any of the other ones either. But, like, that includes both storylines for Resident Evil 2, beating Resident Evil 3 in one sitting, technically beating Resident Evil 2 twice in one sitting. Because I beat it as, Claire. No. Yeah, Claire. And then I beat it, too many names.
I mean, Resident Evil 2 is...
I beat it as Jill
Claire.
First. Or is it, it's Claire. It's Claire.
Jill is 3, Claire is 2.
Yeah, it's Claire.
Well, Jill is 1 and 3.
Yeah, so I beat Resident Evil 2 as Claire in one go. And then I beat it as Leon in one go. And then I beat Resident Evil 3 in one sitting. And Resident Evil 3 was sub 4 hours, maybe? Might have been like under 3.5.
Is that the one that you can actually do in under 2 hours, like, fairly easily?
Skipping cutscenes, you could probably do it in under 2, yeah, for sure. But watching all the cutscenes and playing through it without a guide and only ever having played through the remake once, I was able to beat it in 3.5. Like, it's a very quick game. It is a good game, but it's very quick.
It looks like Resident Evil 3 main story is supposed to be 6 hours. Supposed to be.
Supposed to be 6 hours?
Are you
looking at Resident Evil 3 or Resident Evil Nemesis?
I'm looking at Resident Evil 3, the remake from 2020.
Man, no way it's 6 hours. Did I do it in 6 hours?
Nemesis is supposed to be 6.5 hours.
I know I beat it in one sitting, and it was a weekday.
So you may have gotten it through it quicker, because I know, like, that game can be done faster, and you figure how long to beat is average completion times.
Yeah.
And you having played it before, you didn't have to stumble through it as much as somebody playing it for the first time.
Yeah. Let's see. Alright, so I lied. 5 hours and 15 minutes for Resident Evil.
What a fucking liar. You're not even good at games.
I thought it was shorter. I thought it was less than that. But still, 5 hours and 15 minutes in one session. Beat it. It was great. And just doing that entire feat, doing that whole challenge, was super fun. It was very... There are times that I was just like, I'm done with this. Especially when playing 5 and... Mostly 5. 5 gave me the most problems.
I mean, you were ready to quit on 5 before you even started playing it.
Yeah, because I couldn't get it to start. It caused me to also skip a day because I was so frustrated, which then also caused me to stream a day that I shouldn't have streamed, which then caused me to not enjoy the ending as much, and it just, like, my full-on 5 experience was just terrible. And honestly, that game is just not good. But, like, yeah, like, the beginning I was super into it. As I got closer to the end, I got super excited, and it's just, like, it is an accomplishment that I'm so happy for, that I have no idea how I'm going to, top this next year. I have no idea what I'm going to do next year.
All the supermassive games.
Those are all, like, the Man of Medan type shit, right?
Yeah, and they're definitely, they're stream friendly and can be done in, for the most part, most of the Dark Pictures anthologies can definitely be done in one, like, reasonable stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 to 4 hours. Until Dawn and The Quarry are both, like, longer, so, like, those you might have to split over, like, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but we'll figure that out. I have 8 months to figure that out. But yeah, that would be probably the last thing that would be, like, the best of it, because I absolutely love the Resident Evil games, and how Resident Evil 8 wraps up, and how the story goes with Winter's expansion was just like, it felt good to clear those 2 games, or that game and that expansion. And there's also some of the scariest moments from the Resident Evil games in those. Yeah.
Nice. Drew, what is your last one?
Okay, so here's concerts. I'll just put it there at the last thing. I'm going to give a few honorable mentions on bands that I saw that I'm not going to have in there for the top 5. Polyphia, fucking amazing. They're sick. Go see them. Story So Far for fucking making me cry. Listen to Clairvoyant. It's fucking a heartbreaking ass song. Hot Mulligan, they're awesome. Can't wait to see them again. And Abracadabra, they're a ska band from Brazil. And I was going to include that show on the list, but I already had all the other bands at that show in 2 different shows, so I'm not going to include some of those bands all over again. So, top 5, I guess in chronological order. Yeah. Catbite, We Are the Union, and Eve 6.
Fucking Eve 6, wow.
Less Eve 6, but I mean, honestly, I left a couple songs into Eve 6 at that show. I was there to see Catbite and We Are the Union. But that was awesome. We Are the Union's great. Then was The Best of the Worst, Jer and Kill Lincoln at Phil Mocha. Show was great. Everyone in all those bands are super cool. Then Malthika, Alkaline Trio, and Coheed, because it was the first time I got to see Coheed.
That was a very good show.
Ohio is for Lovers, because it also had a bunch of the other bands that I had seen throughout the year that I would have included, like Motion City Soundtrack, Newfound Glory, fucking...
Oh, what a fucking cop-out.
Hawthorne Heights, fucking... God, I don't even remember all the bands we saw there, but Bayside, fucking... It was sick. I'm waiting to see the lineup for next year, because they've announced it's happening again at the same place in early September. We'll see. I might go again. And then the last one that I went to that I'm going to include was Super American, Just Friends, and Mom Jeans. And that show was just a shitload of fun. Just Friends is really cool. Like, they're like a party emo band. Like,
that doesn't actually make sense.
If you listen to them, you'll understand.
Who was it?
Just Friends. They've got like horns and like...
Well, that makes them a ska band, not an emo band.
Maybe they're... I don't know. They're kind of super genre crossover-y. Super American is definitely like a Midwest-ass emo band, and Mom Jeans is also an emo band. But the singer for Mom Jeans is also in Just Friends. I don't know. It was so much fun, though. Especially Just Friends. Like, they just have such a vibe to them.
Well, that's fun. That is fun.
So, yeah, there. That's a bunch of bands that I saw.
My last one is also a concert. It was seeing AFI back in November. I have never gotten to see AFI. Every time I've had tickets for them, for one reason or another, I haven't been able to go to the fucking concert. Third time's a charm, I guess, because I think this was the third time I had tickets for them. Like, they put on such a good fucking show. They played music from, like, their whole fucking catalog. Davey Havoc was just all over the fucking place. At one point, he was literally standing on top of people in the crowd singing.
Nice.
And yeah, it was just, it was such a good show. The opening band, not so much. Like, they were fucking weird. But, like, from the minute, like, you know how, like, Motion City, or even, Less Than Jake, like, when we saw them in June, like, the crowds were in it, but, like, there wasn't, like, a lot of, like, movement. Like the whole thing was in a pit. AFI, like, as soon as they came on, just everything was chaos in, like, the best way. Which I realize sounds weird, but, like, if you go to this sorts of concerts, like, it makes sense.
Yeah, the Taking Back Sunday show I went to was that way.
Yeah, like, nobody was, like, being aggressive. Everyone was just having fun. And, yeah, it was the best kind of chaos. And yeah, I would 100% go see AFI again.
Nice.
Cool.
Also say just honorable mention, to some other concerts. That Motion City one was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Panic at the Disco, really fucking good show.
Okay.
Like their songs are catchy, but, like, I wasn't sure, like, how good they'd be live. Like, Brendan Urie is a fucking showman. Like, that motherfucker can sing, and he puts on a hell of a fucking show.
That was how I felt about the Killers when I saw them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, cool.
Like, I would 100% go see Panic at the Disco again. And, like, that was one of those shows where they opened with, like different, like, songs from different albums, and they closed with songs from different albums. The whole middle chunk was their entire new album, like, in order.
Okay.
And, like, their band was all, like, everyone in their band was really good, because, like, they have, like, they have drums, guitars, bass, and stuff like that throughout, everything, but then for certain songs, they have, like, string quartets and horns and all sorts of shit come up, and, yeah, was a really good show. Same thing with 21 Pilots, also puts on a really good show. I don't really, like, I knew a couple of their songs just from osmosis, but, like, they were a fun band to watch live. Like, the one dude who does most of, like, the singing, rapping, whatever you want to call it, like, he gets super, like, into it. Like, out in the crowd, they have, like, a second stage at, like, the back of the floor, that he gets up on to play, like, the piano and do some shit. Like, it was a fun time. And then, like you said, the Coheed show in July was really good. I had never seen Alkaline Trio before, and they were another band that, like, I've been listening to them for 20 years. It was nice to finally see them live, and they put on a hell of a show for being an opener.
Yeah.
But, Rich, do you have any honorable mentions?
So, yes, I do have, 2 honorable mentions. I kind of made comment to one of these in our chat. But the 2 honorable mentions are Elden Ring and, Pokemon, Violet. I couldn't rightfully put these in best of because they also deserve to be in worst for this year. Like, they are some of the better games and the better things that I was able to play throughout this year, but they were also so flawed and so many problems, and honestly, just, as great as they are, they're also kind of pretty low tier in, like, their genre in a sense. And so, like, I couldn't put these in best of without putting them in worst of. But they are some honorable mentions from this that, like, they do deserve to be in a high tier. But, like, Elden Ring doesn't deserve to have had one game of the year. Definitely doesn't.
Which I think it's funny, like, I don't know that I've seen a single outlet so far not vote Elden Ring as their game of the year.
It's wild. It's wild. It wasn't that good, guys. It wasn't that good. Like, it was good, but it wasn't that good, guys. Like, I played 2, like, from the Game Awards, I played 2 of the, 5 nominated games. One of them didn't even deserve to be nominated.
Which one was that?
Plague Tale. Did not deserve to be nominated. And Elden Ring deserved to be nominated, but didn't deserve it.
I have not heard a ton of other people talk about Plague Tale, but the few other places I've heard it get brought up, they were not as down on it as you were.
I don't think it holds a candle to the first one. I don't think it was as good. I think they went way too far into the supernatural. I think they did some sequences very poorly because they were just combat and you couldn't actually get out of that in a fucking stealth game. And it's just like, the story was good. It was very good. But everything else about the game just felt janky and not put together properly.
And look, I'm not saying I disagree with you because I obviously didn't play it. I don't know that there were many other AAA games that came out this year.
I mean, I didn't get to play God of War, so I can't say God of War deserves to be Game of the Year.
I don't think... Look, I haven't played a ton of it. It is... Apparently, like, later in the game, it does get a little more emotionally driven. But at least early on, it's very good. It looks very good. It plays really well. But it is just more of 2018 God of War.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it does not hook... at least me. It did not hook me the way 2018 did.
Yeah.
Like, from the moment I started playing that game, I'm just like, okay, no. Like I am going to play this to the end. This one was like, oh, this is just more of that same combat. All right.
But
cool.
we also had, Horizon this year.
Dude, apparent people did not seem to like that one that much.
Yeah, that one didn't seem to hit nearly as well as the first one.
The first one was that, like, weird sleeper hit, for lack of a better term, because it came out a week before the Switch and Breath of the Wild, and everyone kind of, like, forgot about it. But, like, a lot of places, like from what I've listened to so far, like, would bring that one up, and then it would almost immediately get dismissed because, like, nobody had any strong feelings towards it one way or the other.
I mean, I think I'm on record on this podcast saying I don't get the hype on the first one. I couldn't beat it. Like,
I mean, you also started it, 4 years after it had come out?
It was free in 2020 or something like that, and I downloaded it, and just, I couldn't, I got halfway through, and I'm just like, this isn't fun, and this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And, like, I instead of actually playing through it, I watched a video about the story. I was like, this is what I need. I can't beat this game. And it's not because it's hard, it's because I don't like the gameplay, I don't like how the game feels, I don't like how it runs, and just in general, I didn't like it, but I was very intrigued in the story and the lore of the game.
That game does have, if nothing else, the world is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think so.
Anything else either of you guys want to talk about before we wrap up?
I forgot about it until we started recording. I'm just gonna throw down a little quick, simple plug. Maybe we can talk about it more next week. But friends of ours released a game. The studio is Dreamsloth Games, and they released a game called Dualyst II. It's free to play on Steam. It is like a strategy card battler. It's very interesting, very similar to the games that we play tested, or I play tested on stream earlier in this year. I can't remember the developer, but Oaken was one of them. It's very similar to that. Yeah. But honestly, I might be biased because it's friends of mine. I think this one had a lot cooler of a concept because it is just PvP. It's not like the roguelike. Oaken was more roguelike with that concept. This is all mostly PvP. It's really cool. If you guys have a chance, just go check it out, and I want to try to put more time into it this weekend to be able to talk more about it next week. And hopefully you guys can check it out.
You know what, Walnut, remind me, like, I actually backed it on Kickstarter, so I've been meaning to play it, but remind me, and, like, maybe we'll jump on and play against each other.
How much is it?
It's free to play.
Oh, that's cool.
And I forget how much I threw on the Kickstarter, 5 or 10, but it got you, like, in-game currency and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, I don't even remember what I got for it, but I was like, this seems cool enough that I would throw a few bucks at it for this extra stuff.
Is it just Steam?
As far as I know, right now it's just Steam. I'd have to ask him if they have plans to try to move it to mobile or anything. But as far as I know, right now it's just available on Steam.
Yeah, I will at least look to see if it is Steam Deck compatible.
Would it say just on the Steam? On Steam?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, it usually says if you, like, scroll down whether it's compatible or not compatible.
It most likely is Steam Deck compatible. Like, there would be no reason for it not to be. Let's see, on the store page, right?
I fucking hate the Steam Guard bullshit. Like, it's so fucking inconvenient. Especially now that, like, it constantly opens up a fucking QR code instead. I don't want to use your stupid QR code, you piece of shit. Just show me the goddamn code.
It doesn't look like it says if it's Steam Deck compatible, but there would be no reason for it not.
So, I mean, the weird things make things, like, not work well on Steam Deck from what I've seen. And it's usually not just, like, the game isn't compatible. It'll be, like, something, like, with, like, the way that you input text in it. Like, the keyboard won't show up right, so it'll be harder to input text if you have to input text. Like, not that that's this game, but...
Yeah. But it's Duelyst II. It's spelled. It's not like Del.
Did they make a Dualyst 1?
So they didn't make Dualyst 1. Another developer made Dualyst 1, and it was for a while it was a Java game, and then it was released on Steam, but then it's been taken down and shut down completely, and so they, I guess, got the rights to recreate that on Steam now.
And they are mostly positive reviews.
Yeah, it's people are loving this game because it is a very faithful recreation and adaptation of the original. They did whatever they could to remake the original and add new stuff and make it more streamable. So definitely check it out, and hopefully next week we can get a chance to try to play it. There's a tutorial, there's single player challenges and things like that. Like, you don't have to play against other people. But it is a card game, so you get random cards as you play through, and then you can make decks and things like that. And so I want to go through it and try it out. Might try to see if I can talk to Shahed into recording something. But he actually didn't work on any development for this game. Another person on his team did.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so we'd have to get in touch with him. Yeah, he was on my stream when I was playing it, when it first launched, and I kept asking questions. He's like, I don't know. Constantly. And so one person was like, it's great having the dev on and not knowing the answers. It's like, I didn't work on this. I'm working on another game.
But also, not every dev works on every part of every game to know the answer to every question.
Yeah.
They do have another game that they're in the works. I don't really know how much I can talk about that, but I think they're thinking a 2024 release on that.
Is that the other one they have on their Steam page, Kingdoms of the Dump?
Okay, yeah. So if it does show that, then yeah, that's the other one, Kingdoms of the Dump.
I will say that the main character's name, wonderful, Dustin Binsley.
Yeah, they are. This is more for three of us than anybody listening. Adam Marshall is working on that game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's. I guess he's part of Roach Games.
Oh, so they're working with multiple teams on it.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome though. Good for those guys.
Yeah.
I wish listed it.
Nice.
I mean, I don't think I will like that Dualyst game. But like this one looks like it could be cool, like turn-based RPG.
Yeah. He's showed me some things about Kingdoms of the Dump. It's supposed to be silly and fun and whatnot.
Yeah, this one I would definitely play. Dualyst, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that will probably do it though for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that I played Grounded last week, but I don't have enough time into it to actually talk about it, so I'll talk about it.
All right, so that's two things you have to fucking be ready to talk about next week.
I will be ready to talk about Grounded for sure. I'm probably going to do at least 1.5 streams of it. Dualyst, I played it already. I can talk more when you guys know more.
All right, we shall see then. That said, if you would like to find more of our... Oh, actually, no, wait. Next week, book club. Book club next week. We're doing Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Richie picked it,
yes.
so blame him.
Why?
It's
Jurassic Park.
But yeah, so Jurassic Park for next week for book club. That's a damn good movie. But other than that, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, a bunch of other places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your stream schedule? Normal?
It's normal stream schedule. On the day of release today, should be playing some Grounded. On Sunday, should be playing either Grounded or Monster Hunter or a little bit of each. Monday will be Mega Man. Tuesday will be Monster Hunter, open lobbies. So check me out, twitch.tv/b_walnuts. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, from during the week, generally 7 to whenever. On Sundays, probably going to be longer streams. We'll see how that goes.
Nice. And with that, we will be back next week with something else. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.